This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
Hey, I'm Candice Lim, and you're listening to ICYMI. In case you missed it, Slate's podcast about internet culture. And joining me on the show today is one of ICYMI's premier friends of the pod. It's Slate business and tech writer Nitish Pawa. Hello, Nitish.
Hello, Candice. Happy New Year. So happy to be back. We're so back.
I know. Also joining us is internet culture writer Steffi Tao. Hello, Steffi.
Thank you so much for having me back. Happy New Year.
This is so exciting because today's episode is about debating. It's about questioning. It's about stepping into the new year with our best foot forward, because today we are each going to bring one question to the pod, one thing we're on the fence about, and the two remaining panelists will give their pros, their cons, and at the end of the debate, we will give a definitive answer as to whether or not you should do the thing you were on the fence about. Here's the deal. These may not be purely about the internet, but you can ask like internet resolutions, things like that. So these are questions you want to ask like two chronically online people. Should I get us started?
Yeah, take us away.
Yes, please.
Okay. This past weekend was the Golden Globes, which, can I just say, I cannot believe they're like actually back, because I swear to God, I thought they were canceled, but Nikki Glaser was the host. There were some interesting winners. The Brutalist was a big winner. Honora was not a winner. Emilia Perez, also a huge winner. But the real question I want to ask is, do award shows still matter online? Like, do they provide good fodder? Are they good entertainment? I also want to note that this is technically an analog-themed award, so we're not talking about the Webbies, which I gotta admit also don't start conversation. But Nitish, in your perspective, what do you think? Do award shows still matter online?
I think they do,
Okay.
but it's an increasingly smaller number of awards that matter online. Like, the only reason I pay any attention to the Golden Globes is just as like Oscar predictors, right?
Right.
Like that's when everyone's, taking out their betting sheets. That's when everyone's throwing their watch parties. I don't know. Maybe people are out there throwing Golden Globes watch parties. If you are, I'm happy for you. I hope you had a wonderful night, but that's not anybody I know. I think it's going to be increasingly these very few prestige ones left. Like, the Oscars will be the sole movie one. Obviously, Grammys for music. Do the Emmys even really matter anymore?
No,
I don't even know. Yeah. And no one cares about the Golden Globes TV ones either. So, yeah, no, I mean, and the Tonys have always ever been theater nerds like me, right? So they'll be fine. They've already got that niche sorted out. But yeah, I think it's just going to increasingly be some like esoteric ones until finally movies as a medium are displaced by Mr. Beast's first feature film.
Oh my God. That would be great. I mean, Steffi, what about you? Do you think the Golden Globes hit online, or did a part of you feel like, oh my God, they happened? Where are you at?
I honestly think this Golden Globes felt like one long show of rage bait. Like, from beginning to end, I was like, you're trying to stir Twitter's reaction. Let's begin with the fact that Club Chalamet said, "Let's be respectful tonight" in the comments.
Oh my God.
Only to see Timmy get snubbed again and again and again. Kylie Jenner's not pregnant, it turns out. I think it's a bait and switch.
Allegedly.
Also, all the graphics was really giving graphic design is my passion. Everything looked like it was made on Windows Movie Maker. No offense.
You're right.
In one woman's opinion. But I also feel like Emilia Perez being a big winner, like Honora going home with nothing, Timmy getting snubbed. Obviously, Golden Globes have always held a weird position in the wider scheme of award shows. But this time it really felt like rage bait. And I really think it's all a convoluted attempt to get everyone's attention. That's my thought.
That's a great point, actually, with the rage bait thing. Because, yeah, I think, like, unfortunately now, especially now in this sort of, like, backlash reactionary era, you have a lot of comedians kind of picking up the Ricky Gervais shtick of, like, I'm going to say something offensive to the camera, and what are you going to say about it then? Yeah. And, yeah, and of course, they know now if they say something like even slightly quote-unquote provocative, they could start some chatter online, and that'll gain them notoriety. And notoriety in whichever direction, it'll work. If gains them a lot of shame from the left, they'll go on Joe Rogan. If it gets them a lot of shame on the right, they'll they'll go on NPR.
I think the two biggest stories coming out of this Golden Globes was one, Zendaya engagement, which TMZ did confirm she is engaged. She popped out with the ring. People were like, oh my God, does that mean something? It meant something. And two, like Steffi is saying, I do think what made me upset is that, like, I open my Paramount Positive app and I watch Golden Globes and I immediately see Timothée Chalamet sitting next to Kylie Jenner. And I'm like, here we go. Club Chalamet pop off. And I felt like there wasn't enough chatter about that online during the show. And a part of me was like, okay, so if I'm watching the Golden Globes, this is supposed to be a two-screen experience. I want to have, people on my phone going crazy, saying something wild, reacting. And I literally think what prevented me from doing that is the fact that, like, Twitter is Twitter is, like, slow and broken. And honestly, the hashtags never give you the content you really want. And so I was having a hard time finding spaces onto which I could pop off,
Yeah, you gotta find the Golden Globes Discord channel or something.
Oh my God, I know. A part of me was like, do I need to host like a Twitch Golden Globe reaction live stream and then just hang out there with me and my friends?
I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah. We've got a lot ahead too, so you've got plenty of time to set that one up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of social media platforms that disappoint us on a constant basis, I think today's episode is going to bring up a lot of interesting questions about 2025, where we're going to be, what do we want to see, and how we're going to do it. And this is only the beginning, so it's time for a break. When we come back, I'm going to ask Steffi and Natish a big question about Bluesky. We'll be right back.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Buffalo! Everyone's favorite slot game is live on DraftKings Casino. Hit the reels wherever and whenever to play for wild western wins. New players can play $5 to get a spin on the mystery wheel for a shot at up to 1,000 casino credits. Download the app and sign up with code ICYMI. Join the stampede with Buffalo on DraftKings Casino now. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. One per new customer. Play $5 and spin wheel to receive between $10 and $1,000 in non-withdrawable casino credits for select games that expire in 168 hours. Terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends January 19th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hey there! If you love our podcast, then maybe you should consider subscribing to Slate Plus to immediately unlock bonus episodes. You'll access ad-free listening across all your favorite Slate podcasts, including bi-weekly bonus episodes of this show. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts by clicking Try Free at the top of our show page, or visit slate.com/ICYMI Plus to get access wherever you listen. And we're back. I am here with Nitish Pawa and Steffi Tao. So here is the deal. There is a question that I want to bring to you both because I trust you both very much. And the question I've been asking for a very long time is, should I join Bluesky? Here's the deal. Back in November of 2024, I would say there was kind of another bubble of the should I leave Twitter discussion happening. Some may say it was probably spurred on by the US presidential election, but I feel like we've kind of seen a version of this before. Back when Elon Musk first acquired Twitter in April of 2022, there was a lot of fear about him like laying off staff. Therefore, are the servers unmanageable? Therefore, the website will break down. We should leave. And I would kind of argue that not as many people left as I thought they would. And then another point I was thinking about was like July 2023 when there were conversations about Black Twitter trying to find a new home on Spill. Do you guys remember Spill?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As if it were the ghost of Christmas past.
And then we have threads from Instagram and Meta popping up, trying to be a thing. Mastodon was in the conversation for a little bit. And I was personally fighting for the let's go back to Tumblr army. But I guess some would say that Twitter right now is a bit unusable. Not only does it kind of have this infiltration of like a lot of right-wing leaning content that you don't even follow but just comes up. There's also criticism.
I mean, is it even right-wing leaning anymore? Like it's just straight up Nazi stuff. They were spending a whole weekend talking about how people like me, Indian immigrants, should like be immediately deported, which is fine. I mean, it's nothing new. I'm just like, oh yeah, there's like a lot of this going on right now.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I should ask you guys, Nitish and Steffi, like, what do you think is wrong about Twitter, like, right now?
What's right about Twitter right now? First of all, the algorithm's a mess. I don't know. And the fact they fired all their PR people, so if you try to reach out, if a journalist tries to reach out for comment, like I do, like, you have no way of contacting Twitter anymore. Journalists used to have direct connections to Twitter who could provide comments and reasoning and data for, like, everything that's happening. Now there's nothing because little diva Elon laid off everybody. They're pushing so much right-wing content. And the whole payment, the whole verification thing is like just such a mess. Verification means nothing. It's just like such a mess. I don't know.
Twitter obviously had been in decline even before Elon's takeover. It was just like kind of the last refuge for us journalists and nerds. One of the most valuable things I got from Twitter back in the day was, you know, the cultural commentary streams like you were alluding to, Candice. Like rap Twitter was always amazing whenever there was a surprise mixtape drop. There was, I mean, obviously NBA Twitter, end of an era there with Waja retiring. Salute to you, my man. I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're listening too. Subscribe to him. And there always was toxicity, but there was like a different type of toxicity, as it were. Like it's kind of the toxicity that comes with just general like mob mentality and opinion and being an opinionated person, which like still sucks, but it's far different from having a bunch of like paid for blue checks with like statues of like Roman emperors as their avies, saying a bunch of like racist, homophobic, transphobic shit in your mentions nonstop. And I mean, we just know that now that he's getting this government advisory position, Elon, like he's just going to continue to try to tweak it to boost him and everyone he prefers. And it's not fun. I don't know. I just don't get anything out of it anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's what's wrong with Twitter. I think we can kind of say that Twitter right now, down, not good, we want to delete. But I have a question, which is, we have one name rising as a true possible contender for like next social media it girl. It's Bluesky. I think we start the debate now. Who is for and who is against Bluesky? Nitish is pro. Steffi?
I'm a little against.
Against! Okay. Ooh, counter. Nitish, let's start with you. I want to hear the pros first.
So I completely understand the skepticism of Bluesky, and I think my experience is probably colored from other people's by the fact that, one, you know, when I got like the custom invite code, I had a lot of time to kind of like, personalize my experience, make it more just like readily like workable for me, which was of great benefit when more users started joining after the election. But for me, I'm just like, the thing I really enjoy about Bluesky is that, one, there's very little like algorithmic pushing. Like they're not going to like there's no Elon Musk at the helm going to like push his bad jokes in your face, right? It's a reverse chronological timeline. You can also customize a lot of feeds of your own, whether it's like, I don't know, Booksky, there's fucking, for nerds like me, there's urbanism feeds, and that's great. We can argue all day about congestion pricing. Like it's just so much more like the more simple aspects of the internet that I once used to enjoy. And that doesn't mean it obviously doesn't have its problems. And I think it still has a ways to go in terms of capturing the sort of like cultural centrality that Twitter had for live commentary. Like the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight was a very good moment for Bluesky. Lots of good jokes popping off on there. The Kendrick album drop was also a good one, which was great for me and someone who misses rap Twitter dearly. But yeah, not a lot of like sports stuff on there, which was, I think, one of like the last like vestiges, last advantages, I guess you could say, that Twitter offered. And also, I knew things were going not in the greatest direction when the SZA album dropped, and I did not see any discussion. I was like, okay, we need to see if this had been like pre-2022 Twitter, she dropped this deluxe, like it's Jover, that's what we're talking about today. But it wasn't there today. It wasn't there this time, and I'm like, okay, we still need to curate the space a little more, and also like, we are getting like a lot of the hashtag resistance refugees, which is annoying. But here's the great thing. I love this. Their block function blocks like everything about a person.
Oh.
You don't have to see it at all. Even if someone else is like, quote, dunking on them, but you have them blocked, nah, you don't have to see that shit. You can just get to, you don't have to be angry. That's the thing. You don't have to be amped up and angry all the time. and that's what I love.
Okay.
I hope we can get those bluer skies.
Oh, well, can I ask a question? Because you mentioned urbanism, you mentioned like these little communities, and in my head, I was like, what is Bluesky offering that Reddit is not for you?
So Reddit, I have a weird personal history with Reddit as someone who was on there way back in the day and saw like, and I still have a very bad taste in my mouth from like all like the Gamergate era, Pepe takeovers, the shit that happened with Ellen Powell.
Yeah.
But another thing with Reddit I think is kind of annoying is like there's a lot of useful stuff on Reddit for sure, and I think there are a lot of great communities on there still that I check in with, keep up with, but I do also think there's something to be said for the short form, like microblogging format, like just having even a character limit on your responses, and also being able to directly embed media into your stuff or like play off of prompts and shit posts, which whether that's like just like a fun little old SpongeBob graphic you want to show, or like a custom like a YouTube poop you're sharing, like that is just so much more easy and readily available on Bluesky than it was on Reddit. And I just like the feed personally. I did miss scrolling the feed, but not necessarily feeling like addicted to the constantly updating scroll. That's I'd say what the advantage is there for me. I'll hand it to the Redditors. Their stock literally is way up right now, but for me, it's more of a browsing than a participatory space.
Okay, so Natish is pro Bluesky. Steffi, it's your turn. Why are you against me joining Bluesky?
It's like, my thing about Bluesky is that it's like the audio of like, you did good, I'm waiting for you to be great. Like, I am waiting for Bluesky to be great. Like, I think it can be, but my main issue with Bluesky is that the 14-year-old burner accounts have not made the migration to Bluesky as en masse as like grown-ups with jobs have. And I think so the magic to me still remains on Twitter and mostly TikTok. You could also argue like Instagram to some extent, but I don't think Bluesky has fully crystallized its like slightly unhinged flavor, which is what made Twitter such an engaging place to be. And also, it's also why like Twitter is like kind of flopping right now, because it had like the beauty of Twitter was that it was this engaging app where like you could have journalists on there who were trying to promote their work also, but also have like 12-year-olds who like with the username like Jungkook's left toenail just spewing the most obscene. I mean, you had stan accounts like mobilizing for social causes as much as they were also peddling Larry's Style and Sin sort of like propaganda in a sense. You know, and I think that's so beautiful. And my one thing about my delineation is that like Threads is like someone else's happy hour right now. Like your friend brought you to their company for a day.
Oh, interesting.
And then like Bluesky is still also giving like company happy hour vibes to me, where there are some shit posters on there, but there's not enough magic. There's still a decorum there. And I think people need to let go of the decorum a little bit, because that's truly what made Twitter and Tumblr, in a very similar sense, such like a magical place to be, because it was just such weird humor. And Twitter now is like being held hostage by a bunch of like old saggy like toads who like think they're really funny and no one's ever told them that like you're actually not that funny. And so instead of, you know, adapting the platform to the user base and the energy of the user base that exists, they're just getting really huffy and mean and then changing the rules because, again, they're like old saggy like hags. And so there's just like, it's not fun, you know, because back in the day, you could hold a public figure accountable for like liking something on Twitter. You could see it. Now, you know, Elon Musk got like mad about that and then removed it. Like, they're being held at the whims of this billionaire and his mood on a day-to-day basis, which is not fun for the bit. And like, that was what was so magical about Twitter, was like, you just had this fun bit. I don't really see that on Bluesky yet. I think there is still a sense of like professionalism on there, which is originally also why like Twitter became like the writers app, right? But I'm not seeing that matched in the same vein. Case in point, Club Chalamet, not on Bluesky. That is, I think,
that is an issue.
Piece of evidence.
That is an issue. Yeah. I mean, can I make the argument?
You know who is on Bluesky though? Who is Pop Crave?
Pop Crave at this point, that's like saying, I don't know, TMZ's on there. Can
I make the argument? Can I make the argument that one reason why I am not that interested in Bluesky is because I do not think there is a definitive celebrity, like a definitive Bluesky famous person. Because you know how people be like, Derek Guy, he's Twitter famous, is Twitter famous. Kind of like the way that Addison Rae is like TikTok famous. There is not a face and there is not one singular name to kind of define the app, define the tone, but also there's not a singular figure to hate on Bluesky, because there's nothing better than congregating the haterade. That's my take of why Bluesky isn't great yet, but it's like, I want to believe there's potential. Am I wrong?
There is potential, I think.
There's definitely potential. Yeah.
It just
but I agree with you. Even as like I'm rooting for Bluesky. I really want it to happen, but I agree with you. You know, the issues are there, and I think, I don't know, like I want to like also go back to like my more shitposty, like bad jokey roots, but then like I get sucked into like this political conversation, and like that we're going to be having enough of those over the next however many years now. So need to like make it a place where we can have fun too. And I don't know, I'll do my best, but I need some help.
Natish needs to brush up his shit posting skills. All
I know.
2025.
Also, unfortunately, I'm just gonna like out us as 3 people of media. Whenever we need to shit post, we just like get booked on CNN and then we get into a fist fight with some people. That's what we do when we need to pop off. So we're good, guys. We're good.
I'm making TikToks. No one's inviting me on CNN.
Okay. Now here is my decree. Ding, ding, ding. Here is my edict. I have decided not to join Bluesky. I'm sorry, Natish. I'm sorry. I just feel like right now, 2025, it's not a new year, new me. It's actually same me. I just feel like what I actually want to do is I want to minus. I don't want a plus. I want a minus. So I need to minus something. And I'm thinking I might minus Instagram, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Well, Instagram's definitely getting worse.
Yeah.
It's getting way worse.
But it's like LinkedIn for us at this point.
I mean, but I think like the most beautiful thing in the world, the dream I dream for my children is that one day they will never have to use LinkedIn to get a job.
That's beautiful.
And I want to get there. I want to get there, you know? I want to get there.
Mm-hmm. I have friends who purposefully never joined LinkedIn just to be like, no, I could get a job without this profile. What are you guys on about? And you know what? I respect them because they did it.
Yeah, I'm not open to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not open to work, actually.
I'm not #hiring. None of that.
There are so many social media sites out there. I want to ask, what makes a good social media platform, Natish?
Shit posts. Shit posts and memes.
Okay.
And also just like having at least a few people in your corner. You know, a few people who you might not like see or much in real life, but who you regularly chat with there. You all can gather around, grab a little 6-pack of Oberons and just chill out.
Okay, Steffi?
It needs a main character and it needs a villain. So like, and it needs a cultural moment, I think. So it needs some kind of story.
I agree.
And right now, the issue with Bluesky is that there's no story. Although there could be one. Yeah. But for Twitter, that moment that we all realized this platform is really important was Arab Spring. Like Arab Spring, really, like you could not, it needed Twitter, right? And so like Twitter was so massively pivotal in that. And so when you look at like, and when you see even the main characters and the villains that have happened on a platform like TikTok, you had like West Elm Caleb, who was like the most hated man.
Right.
Wow, remember when?
Damn. We were so much younger then. That was like one of TikTok's moments. We watched Brittany Broski's career go from trying kombucha to like being a preeminent content creator. And we need like a story like that in order for something to pop off. Same thing with Lemonade right now. There's no main characters on there yet because it's so fresh.
My God.
All right. Well, this was a good discussion because I needed to know what I'm going to do, and I appreciate you both, but let's take a break. When we come back, Natish and Steffi will give us their big internet dilemmas that they need our help solving. And we're back. Natish, I want you to bring a query, a dilemma to the Magic 8 Ball that is this podcast. Natish, what is your qualm?
My qualm is how do I resist the urge to be constant fact checker for all the normies in my life, especially like on Instagram? Because like at this point, I've had to, this is just a random list of things over time. I've had to clarify to people, this is all true, that Gilbert Gottfried was not a pedophile.
Oh.
That congestion pricing is not just going to put a new fountain in LaGuardia. Mm-hmm. And that this one's pretty relevant, but that Justin Baldoni is actually a pretty bad guy, and some random TikTok guy saying that he brought receipts is not a reliable source of information. I mean, there's always been this problem, but I feel like it's just going to amplify, especially as we get more AI bullshit thrown into the mix. And I know it's not my job to be like constant hall monitor, but how do I let myself sleep at night knowing that someone out there still believes that Amber Heard like started congestion pricing in order to fund Bill Gates vaccines.
Yeah. Okay. So can I ask a little more? How does this manifest in your life? Like, are you in the Instagram comments being like, no, actually? Are you like in person, like telling people like stop and like fact checking them? Like, what makes you not like this version of yourself?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
And it's also just like a bummer because, yeah, again, like we were just talking about earlier, I want to be online to have fun, right? And I'm doing my damnedest, and I'm with people with whom I'm having fun. But then, of course, because they know I'm in the news, they'll be like, "Hey, yeah, did you hear about yada yada yada?"
I have
and I'm
that
like,
too.
"Where the
Yeah,
hell?
for
Where the
sure,
hell
for
did that
sure.
come from?" And yeah, I don't know. It's another like conspiracy theory. Well, first I get sad, and then I get like stern and serious, and then I get into like my least fun self, and yeah, I just don't want to keep doing that. Like, is there a version where I can just be like, hey, this is wrong, but I'm at capacity right now, so I'll check in later about this.
Yeah. I mean, I think what you're really asking is like, how does Nitish this year not take the rage bait? And I think, Steffi, I want to hear
100%.
your thoughts. How can we help Nitish not take the rage bait?
It's so first, I feel for you. I feel like so many of us have lost homies to like the manosphere, to like the algorithm. We all have had like a buddy just fall so deeply into the spiral of like just misinformation, and then have them bring it up to you over like brunch, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have said before in this podcast, I feel like the best way to handle conspiracy theory is never to make statements. It's just to ask questions, because the center can't hold for that long. Like the line of logic. I feel like Ronnie Cheng talks about this in his new special, which I thought was really funny. He says like, there's just so much dissonance of like China caused COVID, but COVID isn't real. And so there's just like so many, he's such a genius. I think he's so funny. But like, there's so many quips like that, or like statements that are said as truth but don't have a lot of logic behind them. The fact is, the way it's peddled out on social media, it's not, people aren't being given the education or the knowledge or the nuance necessarily to have real conversations about them. So I feel like instead of making statements, because that only really inspires more other statements to be made, even if yours are factual and theirs aren't, like it helps more, I've found, to just ask questions in order to break the center of their soapbox.
That's a good point. And I think it also plays into like the do your own research element behind all of this, right?
Yeah.
Like people love to think they like snuffed around and found it on their own. So yeah, you just like ask some questions, get them in a other direction. Yeah. I do my best to just like recommend like better sources or like countervailing TikToks. Shout out to you, all you creators. I don't know how you all do it. Trying to like debunk your own friends every day. And yeah, just like I don't know, finding something definitive for like when an old friend sends me like a Tim Dillon video, I'm like, well, you know what he's like, what he like says on a regular basis, right? That sort of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have 3 solutions for you, Nitish. The first one is the best way to stop debunking your friends, don't have friends. Number 2, number 2, I do this a lot on the Faux Moi, which is the Do Moi subreddit, where there's so many stories, and I gotta admit, all of them are juicy, and the question is, do you care? I literally go on Reddit sometimes, and I go through the scroll of my day, and I'm like, da-da-da-da. Do I care about this? Yes, no, no. And I just keep going. And I literally have to like make decisions like this every single time I see something like an Apple News notif, a TMZ notif, da-da-da-da. I mean, an example is like Zendaya engaged. Obviously, I care. Obviously, I'm looking into it. Obviously, I'm in the comments. But I think sometimes you should give yourself permission to literally see something. And especially if it's not your beat, just be like, I don't care. And just move on. Move on.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Especially the losing your friends part. JK.
My third actual bonus thing, though, is, okay, I used to have this coworker who, honestly, I feel like used Slack DMs as his personal alt Twitter. And all I mean by that is, like, anytime he had a flagrant thought or just, like, a genuine word vomit, he would Slack me on DM, and it would have nothing to do with me. It would have nothing to do with our conversations. It was him just popping off. And I literally once said to him, hey, man, you know what this would be great on? Twitter. And he just shut up. And I really think that sometimes maybe the best thing to do, Nitish, open up an alt Twitter. Do not be malice with it, but just like use it to like get your anger out, get your thoughts out, because sometimes you just need to like let it out into the world, release it, and then you can go on your day, you know?
Yeah, bring back shame.
That is true.
Bring back shame in
Bring
people.
back shame.
Some of y'all not shameful
Seriously.
enough. You're watching Ben Shapiro review Wicked? That's a choice.
The number of people I saw sharing that video, I'm like, look, I liked Wicked. I don't care if Ben Shapiro likes it. I don't care about anything he does.
Pick your poison, okay? So, Nitish, was that helpful?
Yes, it was. Thank you both for the counseling session.
Okay, Nitish, that was a great question. We now come to you, Steffi, which is really funny because we usually bring you on the show to like give advice, but today you are asking for advice. So, Steffi, what is your qualm today?
I have thought a lot about this going into the new year, so I'm very glad this is an opportune moment for me to share it with both of you. I have a lot of texts. I have a lot of texts. Obviously, I've had a phone for a very long time. I've never deleted them. So I have a lot of just messages with ex-lovers and haters alike. Should I delete my texts?
I immediately said no. Nitish, where are you at?
Oh, no, I am all for purging your texts. I'm big auto-delete
Okay,
guy,
Nitish,
yeah.
go first. Nitish, go first. Defendant, defend.
Yo, let me tell you, first off, yes, I very much sympathize as someone who like never deleted their texts until I got a phone that just had like auto delete, auto churn turned on. But here's the thing. Something you realize down the line is you're going to scroll through your contacts list one day and realize you don't remember who half the fucking people are on there. Second off, you're going to realize that the past it is not deserving of your nostalgia. Like it really sucks. You know, there's so much bad shit from there. And if you want to keep a record of it, that's fine. But you're also going to just end up wallowing in that dreck. And you don't need that. There's enough bad shit out there that you don't need to keep more bad shit from the past that played out in texts. Also, the feds are out there.
Sure.
You know, the feds are watching. So, you know, get on Signal, you know, turn on that auto delete, et cetera, et cetera. But I also think that there really is, I think, limited utility in looking too far back into those, because, you know, it's one thing when, you know, you're looking through like, oh yeah, like this 18th century poet's letters, because they had to write like almost like a defining document for like a whole ass month that, you know, would then go by like pigeon or like passenger ship to their like lover out in like the colonized Maldives. You know, and then they would have to do that in turn, you know, prepare for those. And that's the thing. It becomes a snapshot for a longer period of time, and it's all the more meaningful for that. Whereas these texts are like your mood swings from like second to second. Like 1 second, like you were not super stoned, and the second you were. So I just don't find it very productive myself. Again, I do sympathize with the habit, but I did find that once my phone started deleting my texts, I did not really miss them.
Nitish for real said nobody wants your texts that say like, girl, should I change my soy milk to oat milk? Nobody wants to see that.
Okay, now can I ask Steffi, what is the concern? Is it about gigabyte storage? Is it about the memories you don't want? Is it literally about the feds? What concerns you most about this?
It's kind of all of the above, plus like a secret fourth thing of just of like, course. What if I want to look back on a moment in time with like a friend that I knew in high school, and I want to like look through our text. So it's partly nostalgia, partly like it does take up a lot of storage. Also, just like, what if it gets played out in a court of law and I have to like we live in receipts culture, you know what I mean? What if I have to bring out receipts at some point? You know, like, because I also put like an auto delete on my Twitter account for like every 2 years or something. But when I was in high school, my Twitter account, which is not my professional account, I used to not run a Barb's account necessarily, but I posted a lot of Nicki Minaj fan tweets. Sure. And some of them were bangers, and they've now been deleted. And I'm a little like, damn, Wouldn't it be nice to be able to look back and be like, wow, this little girl spent so much time trying to piece together the Feel in Myself music video because it was only released exclusively on Tidal.
That's true.
Oh my God,
That's
I
true.
forgot
And I
about
had to
that.
sit in my high school choir room and piece it together bit by bit because I was a 16-year-old, so I couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
I will say, I think old tweets are a different matter from old texts because in there you were like actively participating in some sort of interaction conversation that looped in other people. Yeah. And I mean, the Stan armies, you know, like all the Nicki Minaj fan groups, those are full of history. You know, we are going to want to sift through those like one day. But when I deleted my ex Twitter account, like just did a cold purge, and I do kind of regret that now. But I think the public facing posts are, you know, probably they're a better candidate for preservation. Unless you're like a Metro Boomin and you have a bunch of old tweets dug up from like 2010 about teenagers.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to argue for keeping your texts and not deleting them. My take on it is that by day I'm a hater, by night I'm an archivist, guys. Every single night, what I do sometimes is I just like scroll through like texts that my friend had sent me like a week ago just to like remember that and to like be like, oh my God, remember that funny thing she said? I just think that there is something about text messages that to me are not about the content, but about your relationship to that person. And that person could literally be, here's your Amazon verification 2FA code. But I think there is something about the way that like you can kind of go back in history if you want to and kind of be like, oh my God, remember when me and my friend did that thing and we talked about it, da 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 da. Like I think for me the memory and the nostalgia is worth it. And to be very honest, I don't go back through my texts often. Like sometimes what'll happen is I'll look up my friend's address in my text messages to like send them something and I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that in 2019. But a part of me is like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that in 2019. And I just think that maybe this is scarcity mentality, but I always think it is better to keep than to kill. Whoa. Whoa, and that's on wrestling
this one.
And so therefore, Steffi, I think you should keep your text because I think something you alluded to is like, what if you had to go to a court of law and prove that one of your friends didn't do a thing and they have an alibi, which is that they were hanging out with you at 4 a.m. and you have the text messages to prove it. I just think sometimes they help.
Yeah, even just like friendship drama.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean you got me this for my birthday? Like I thought I expect, and then you can go back and be like, no, girl, you asked for this.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one question to add to all this. I think you all raised some very good points. I am not objecting to any of this, but especially when you're looking in like the past, even maybe the recent past, and maybe this is just a me problem. I don't know, but do you ever just like wince so hard looking at some of those older messages that you like fold up into yourself?
I think you should though. I think that you should.
But that's not healthy.
But the thing is, it is
in good condition.
But it is healthy because if you were to look back and go like, if you were to go back and be like, yo, Natish, you ate that. It means you did not grow. It means that you were still a douchebag and you are a douchebag. Whereas if you cringe at the thing that I sent my friend about Neopets in 2016, I think I am at a place where I can laugh at that because I'm like the 12-year-old who said that had no idea what was coming, but I hope that she is preserved in the ember of this text message. I think you're supposed to cringe at yourself. That was growth, my friend.
I'm already cringing about stuff I said on this recording.
You need to free yourself from the shackles of cringe. Free yourself from the shackles of cringe.
Okay. I mean,
maybe that's what it ultimately comes down to, how tethered you are to your cringe.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Steffi, after this very intellectual debate, have you decided to free yourself from the shackles of cringe?
I think I'm gonna delete my text.
Wow. I am head down leaving the courtroom right now. Head down. No
I think
cameras.
it's like, I think the public thing makes sense. I think it's like the thing I need to save is just like the all-timers. Like in 2016, my best friend, Tess Garcia, shout out, texted me when we were freshmen in university. She texted me, saw a 6-foot white boy wearing a J. Cole t-shirt in the dining hall want me to give him your number, and that's a Hall of Fame tweet.
Oh my God.
That was so, we didn't know each other that well then. It was so funny and so out of pocket. I was like, how dare you? How dare you?
Did she get the number?
No, I told her.
Oh!
How dare you? How dare you? No, we're locked in. We're locked in. Shout out to
Good.
Tess. She's also a journalist.
yeah.
We
Hey.
climbed that little hill together.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I think I just need to save some Hall of Famers and then let the rest go. Because Natisha's right. Nobody wants to see my keyboard smashes because Kylie Jenner re-debuted teal hair briefly again.
Do not even talk to me about King Kylie. Do not even
Yeah.
talk to me about who I was in King Kylie.
Yeah, nobody wants to see my text saying, "Oh my God, 2014, we're so back." Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Saturday, so definitely subscribe. That way, you never miss an episode. Leave us a rating and a review in Apple or Spotify, and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com. ICYMI is produced by Alexandra Botti and me, Candice Lim. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer, and Alicia Montgomery is Slate's vice president of audio. See you online or not on Bluesky.